It's too big.
I'm playing the music.
Now that rodeo shirt you're wearing, Mr. JT Brown, in your headshot picture on jtbrownandco.com. Here's something I saw with my eye, because we do a lot of web development. You're not HTTPS secure, SSL secure, baby. So just watch out for that.
Should I consult you?
You're vulnerable to attack.
How'd you do the website? What's it on?
I hope somebody comes and gets me.
And this is your jam?
I did it through Verb.
This is your jam on that we're listening to?
Yeah, this is the opening track on the last full length that I put out.
Hashtag Phantom Heart. 9 years in the making.
Yeah, it took about 2 years worth of pre-production on this one. A lot of camping and extracurriculars that
Magic mushroom
distracted me. Magic mushroom.
Production.
I'm very curious about that process, because it's a tough creative thing. I feel like, especially music. I don't know. There's this kind of weird era we're in where you can have access to all art at once, right? Mm-hmm. So it's that thing of everything's been done, and it's been done, and it's been done, and it's iterative and all that stuff. And you can get in your own dome about what you're trying to push out, you know? Do you experience that? I get this with comedy, right? Like, I'm like, I bet someone's done this joke about this that's more famous than me, and I'll be a puss and not even try it.
I think with comedy, it's probably... It's
There's
probably...
no cover bands in comedy.
It's probably way more easy to identify if you've copied something in comedy than music.
Exactly. Because, I mean, you're only saying it's a line. You know, there's not multiple elements going into it. I mean, other than maybe tone, placement of tone and things like that.
There's more nuance than probably I don't know with music performance, right? Like, I don't know. There's probably a lot of nuance I have zero clue about, but like there is like it's more of like an instinct to feel out the crowd a lot of the time.
For sure. Well, especially I would imagine in comedy, because you know you're getting the thing about comedians is that they thrive on that immediate response. Emotionally they thrive on it while they're performing, and
all the time.
To feel the wave of the crowd, how it's moving. But musically, I think it's a little different in that, at least from a production standpoint, I don't really feel the need ever I don't feel the pressure of like what's happening or what's current or anything. I don't really feel that. I have elements in my head that I hear, and I try and construct them in a way that I know is unique or authentic. And if I feel like I'm achieving that, then I feel like it has its unique quality that
there's
that
no current events kind of musician.
You
know,
like
not
Trump anymore.
Well, you know what I'm saying, like but even like a movement like in the '60s or something, there's still like a lot going on over a long period of time. You're not talking about like the exact news that's hitting today, kind of.
Well,
thing.
Because it changes every 45 minutes. So back, in the '60s, there was 3 or 4 publications that were putting out all of the information. So, if it was skewed or not, there were fewer sources to pull from.
I
less
feel like
distraction.
It's just retroactively. Oh, that '60s music. They were talking, all this different stuff. They can apply it afterwards, where it's like you're not thinking of it as it's going. It's like, oh, well, that definitely influenced me, but I didn't know it did even when it was happening.
Certainly. I mean, I think these times there's a lot to write about, socially.
What strikes you as something interesting to it's also hard because I love specifics. Like, I talk in this kind of sometimes super specific
robotic
Asperger's-y. So like a super specific kind of way, because I think a lot of funny things are in the details in a way, and I'm more conversational kind of when I'm doing stand-up because I'm a lazy writer, so I do a lot of crowd work.
Just likes to wing it. That's what it is.
I like to go up with nothing and say I'm really brave to everybody, but it's really just because I don't write ahead of time that much, or rewrite, I should say. Someone told me, you're a good writer, you're fucking terrible rewrite.
A lot of that going on.
A lot of that. Hello? Is this mic on? Hello? I'll be here all week. Let me do my pubic hairdo joke. All right. Here goes another 7 minutes of Yellowstone. And
I'm
then I
just
go
gonna
Ric
push all the
Flair.
buttons until you're done.
I do have a Ric Flair bit.
What is it? Do it now.
I
Be
just said,
funny.
I want to be the mayor of Tampa one day, but I think this is my theory from a while ago that to be a politician, you have to be a wrestler, essentially.
Yes.
And I think a lot of people now use this kind of thing. But I think you have to be crazy to get people's attention. But I want to get people's attention in a really get them on the pragmatic, boring things to cover. Like
the attention getting needs to be out of 10.
it needs to be like,
the
whoa,
thing, yeah.
Ric Flair, Nature Boy,
Yeah.
and then you go, hey, you slip in all these like really boring things. I want urinals to have a convex kind of look to it. I want pee to go trickle down and then go Nature Boy all the way down. I want it to have a different angle so we don't get piss on our khakis. Am I right? Woo! And then that's how you have to do it. Yeah.
Was that the bit?
Yeah. It's more, comedy is for like a studio. I have to say, it is best in front of two friends.
Yeah. One of them has a
three or
soundboard just waiting to
a
push
third
that
friend
button.
behind the dash over there.
Yeah, we got John Paul Labadie, who's a producer in the other room now, like a grown up.
If you're watching,
Your mic is on. You gonna say hi? He's too busy looking at himself.
Hey, JP.
Oh, wait.
If
Yeah,
you're
you gonna talk? Talk into the microphone.
Change my camera angle to me. Hi, guys. Hi.
Nobody
If-
wanting to see that.
if you like college football Saturday mornings, he's like our bear. He is the go-to cut over to the side.
Even looks like it too.
If you're watching, he looks like a bear for sure.
All right, I'm gonna mute
Power
him.
bear. But
Hey, if you want us, you got to bang on the glass real loud. I'm just joking. Don't do that.
so if you're
He's not even walking.
if you're watching Sweat Equity as we're talking right now, you can see we got a different setup going on, and if any tech issues shall happen,
Blame me.
Sorry about that, but we've got
Fine.
like legit stuff now.
I got one for everything.
And if you're watching, Eric has dressed up as an homage.
Well, to my good friend Justin Brown, who is my favorite dresser of all time.
Yeah, you're very
telling John
subdued
Paul.
today. I thought
I know. I was a
you
little
were going to come
disappointed.
in like a skirt or something.
I really don't mean it as an insult. I love that about you, that you don't care. You do. Maybe you do care, but
Maybe I
it
care
makes
way
me
too
happy.
much.
Whatever you're doing makes me happy.
If it
Thank
takes
you.
too much effort, then I hate it. How about that?
Yeah.
Like if you're punk, right? If you're punk rock, but it's like 4 layers of shit you have to put on, then fuck that.
Oh God, yeah.
Yours
No.
seems very minimalistic.
I'm a little
It is.
disappointed.
I like to combine weird elements with all kinds of shit.
You're not quite Steven Tyler. There's
No,
not like
man,
you're
no.
not walking around with bandanas and shit.
No
around
scarves.
I always wonder what guys like, how liberating it must feel for them to derobe at the end of the day, like take off their costume. Guys walk around and they'll go to a fucking coffee shop wearing
Yeah,
high heel, snakeskin
leather
boots, which is fine.
pants.
I mean,
I
dig it,
I'd
but-
like to see the Nest camera of like one of the guys from Gore when they get home, like, ugh.
Or
like
those
just
guys
taking
that
off their shoes and
put
shit.
on the giant rubber football pads with spikes sticking them out.
Yeah. Just like
honey,
sitting on a
rough day.
bench, like trying to take the boots off, and their arms are too big.
Yeah. Wife pulling his pants off of him as they lay on the bed.
How much panache do you worry about what you wear on stage or any of that? As
Yeah,
a
I mean, there's-
musician?
I think there's a little bit of calculation there. It's just playing into the persona, but
Do you okay? How about
Okay,
that?
let's
It
talk about
fits-
that persona
yeah,
a
it
little bit.
Right. Because that's like with comedians, like you're up your own ass all the time, kind of thinking about you're thinking about you all the time and how you're perceived on stage and sometimes off. But like, it's kind of like a branding exercise of sorts. But I have a bad kind of disassociation with myself with that, so I don't think about myself doing any of that for myself. Like I won't. I'll be.
I
like,
know exactly what you're trying to say.
What are you saying?
You
What am I
well,
saying?
you're saying that like you don't
Low self-esteem.
right.
Yeah.
But the consequence of that is that you feel like you don't put out enough of your own content because you don't separate yourself from the comedian
Or-
and dad, everything else you are. You think that it applies to you in your real life, which it does.
Or just
But-
stank on stage, like that kind of aura. Some guys have that kind of thing.
yeah,
What?
like Dane Cook, in 2005, he always wore his little leather, little leather.
Oh,
bracelet.
okay.
Things like that.
I
Little
was trying to go.
signatures.
I was going deep into his psyche. You
But
didn't
yeah,
want, you want to
that's-
stay on the
you're,
surface.
you're
We'll
on the
stay
right
on the
path, but
surface.
I was going more just the external kind of like.
I mean, we can dig into law a little bit.
That's
Let's see.
fine.
What's going on in your head?
we did it last episode.
Yeah.
Sweet.
We used to have one of those leather wristbands. What happened to that gimmick?
I have it. It's somewhere over there. It's
What
a,
does it do?
It went away about
I don't know,
5-6 years ago.
piece of flair. No,
Oh,
I
it's-
just.
It
for
died
me-
with Scott Stapp.
How dare you? how,
Is he dead?
how dare you besmirch Scott Stapp
He's
in the
alive.
studio?
He's alive and well.
Can you take me?
That is
I look like Scott Stapp. So,
a little bit.
He knows.
A little bit.
Like
He got it.
Like an
does
alcoholic,
it.
more alcoholic Scott Stapp.
More.
Yeah. Dude's a booze hound, man.
Is he?
Hey, you want to meet Jesus through rock? You're gonna have to drink a lot, man.
I heard some
True.
creepy story about that guy he drove like 2 hours from Tampa up to Gainesville to hook up with some college chick. Total.
I've heard that
just
story.
Pulled it out of my ass.
No.
but that-
I've heard that story since high school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Scott
then
Stapp.
that means it's
Scott
true.
Stapp.
That and Pauly Shore hooked up with a girl at Tampa Prep when we were in high school, and
That's where my wife went.
this is all hearsay.
Hmm.
This is all,
Maybe
Could be
she
your wife.
got the weed.
Hey, buddy.
hey, buddy, remember me?
That's the only thing, Pauly Shore thing I can pull up.
Yeah.
What else does he do? Here, I gotta unmute John Paul. He's got one, I'm sure.
No, perfect timing, guys.
No,
You know what's the best?
it's
about,
hard.
about comedy is timing, and you guys got it.
You know, we
Yeah.
do a lot of timing behind the camera.
He's like doing a Sudoku over there. Not,
It's not-
not
Remember,
watching.
we can see his screen too. He's got porno pulled up, big time.
Oh,
Take it
yeah,
down,
big
buddy.
Naturals.
Hmm.
That's what that's about.
Damn, dude.
We're a little disappointed. No guitar. I mean, I
Straight
guess
pogs.
we just gotta talk. You know,
I
can you
mean,
talk
so
sing
can you
songily.
Communication breakdown. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah,
I didn't
can
tell
you
him to bring a guitar. or
All you
nothing.
said was Asian courtesy.
We actually have a guitar.
Oh
here.
yeah, someone.
It has not been played in years. I guarantee.
No, it hasn't. It's probably out of tune for sure.
I got it when I was 16, thinking I could do it, and then forgot I had super sweaty hands, and that dream went bye bye.
This straight, yeah.
That was just part of the persona
Sweaty
and the
hand.
leather
your
wristband.
Strings rust out pretty quick when you're sweaty. You got
Yeah.
sweaty hands.
It's my it's my disability. Is my hands and feet sweat almost all the time. Pretty gross.
Hmm.
Yeah. People think I'm really nervous when I meet them. I'm
It's
like,
called
nah.
hyperhidrosis. And
Sure.
it's, you know, you have a lot of sweat glands in your hand and your palm.
I know, but everybody thinks I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah, I mean, we're
Hello,
two of the
sir.
sweatiest guys you'll see.
I mean,
Oh,
we're
you're
not even
gross.
That's fresh, dude. I
He's
know.
we're not
smelling
even
my-
going for the
dirty animal.
titular connection.
He's
the
smelling
sweat
my
equity.
pheromones.
Yeah, you got them. Pheromones kicking.
I do stink.
I feel like this is a good moment in the podcast to plug the incremental a little bit, huh? Yeah.
Yeah.
We've got
I
Eric's
should
doing
record another one.
Eric's doing some solo podcasts about wellness, Wim Hof breathing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the next one. I mean, this is the second or third time we've talked about me doing it, and I still haven't recorded the second one.
When's
you-
the episode about your balls moving? You ever look at your balls when you're like laying down and they like one will go up and the other goes down,
Mhm.
like a yin yang kind of thing?
Yeah, but I control it with my mind.
Can you really?
You can't pull your own ball up.
I mean, I can, but I can't do that kind of breathing consistently.
Has nothing
I'll,
to do
like,
with the
pass out.
breathing. It's a muscular thing. Have you sat on your balls?
No, I'm not there yet.
I have.
You have?
I got a theory.
I thought
think
that was
once
like
you hit
a
a certain
joke.
age. No. I think once you hit a certain age, like you sit on your balls like one time, maybe when you're 30, and then it goes up once every year. So 31, you sit on your balls twice that year.
I'm
That's
with
I'm
you.
working on it.
It's
'cause
compounding.
Is this a preventative thing for something? What's the point?
I don't know.
Okay.
We're doing an ad.
I'm just,
We're in the middle of an ad.
I'm an
Oh,
amateur
just
doctor.
Some
so-
old Eastern medicinal.
So if you
Thing.
if you want that kind of information
prevent
about ball
testicular
sitting,
cancer.
compounding, pounding balls, the incremental, it should be nested underneath the sweat equity.
Yeah, I'll do
feed
some
on
kind of like
iTunes.
appendix version of the podcast. I'll talk about all my fucked up shit, my hemorrhoids, my ball sitting. What else is wrong with me?
Yeah, but you got rid of your allergies with breathing technique and ice baths. So that
Yeah.
that right there is worth the price
for
of
sure.
admission, which
Yeah.
is free.
I mean, is Wim Hof? I mean, is the gist of it like just a like dousing yourself in oxygen kind of a thing.
Yeah,
Is the
you're
idea?
well, yeah, it's
Oxygenating your blood.
it's it's got a couple different factors to it. Part of it is the breathing. The breathing is to oxygenate your blood so that you're able to hold your breath longer.
Mm-hmm.
When you're holding your breath, you activate the autonomic nervous and immune system, which triggers all kinds of hormones that make you feel good, sort of stuff. That it's like medicine that you can make on your own that people just forgot how to do. And then the cold exposure is the same idea, the same result, but take cold showers, train your blood vessels to not seize up when you get in the cold water. It helps with something I don't remember, but the ice water, scientifically proven, you get in there for 2 minutes at 50 degrees.
Puts your body in fight or flight.
Yeah, yeah.
And the
pretty
way
much.
that kind of shocks, it kind of builds up like a little bit of a callus for you to be like kind of, your body kind of gets tougher for
Yeah.
that.
Well, people living in Florida, too, it's like we're all relatively less adjusted to the cold than other people. So it's like 50 is what they did in a laboratory or whatever they did to prove it scientifically. But
50.
I get 50 degrees Fahrenheit, the
gotcha.
water, sorry. But sometimes it doesn't get that cold for me. But you get in there, even at 60 degrees, that's fucking cold water. It's a lot different than 60 degrees air. So
I need to go back.
anything you can do, try
I
it.
used to do the cold shower, and that will hurry up your shower time a lot.
That
but,
too, yeah.
But like,
Save water.
you know, I'm in a flat, as I like to call it, because it sounds fancier than an apartment. But I don't have the backyard to do the ice bath. So for a while I was doing the.
Do you have a bath?
Yeah, but it's like kids shit in the tub and stuff.
That's a
so.
weak ass excuse.
Dude, I'm not fucking getting ice to bring it
No,
up to
we-
put it in the tub. You act like you can't act like I got time where I can just go, hey, 1-year-old, 2-year-old, just chill out here, watch No Malone for the 40th time. I'm gonna do an ice bath, and you definitely will not come in here and mess with me.
My
Like a lot of
girlfriend-
excuses.
You know, my girlfriend now she's got a 2.5-year-old, and it's like,
Oh,
I
it's the
cannot-
same then.
I
We're
cannot-
all the same then.
Oh yeah, you think you're a dad?
Jesus.
I'd like to if we just
Y'all-
both
y'all-
turned on you, like,
you guys.
oh, you think you're the same?
I mean, it's just.
We've been through some shit.
It's such a parental response to what I did.
Sorry.
I mean,
No.
Jesus
No,
Christ.
please tell
We
us.
were kidding. Look, this is improv, man.
Here's
I
the
saw
deal.
where Eric went, and I went with him.
I don't have to have spawned the thing to know that being interrupted every time you take a shit is a reality, and that is something I experience on a regular basis. You know.
Yeah.
Have you written a song about that?
No.
Not being
I
the
try to
boy's father,
stick to more substantial topics.
have you
but-
thought of locking the door
Or installing a door with a lock
Yeah.
and locking it?
or
I
handcuffing
feel like there's
him
not a
to
lock
something?
on the door.
Yeah,
Nat-
locking helps. Sure,
natively.
I'll try that. But sometimes I'm stuck in my old ways. You know. I feel like I have the freedom still, and I
You
just
should be able
don't.
to shit where you want.
Give him a
How
swirly.
I want. for
Wait,
sure.
don't flush it, and then give him a swirly. He'll never come in again.
How do
Yeah,
you want to shit?
CPS might take a stroll through.
How are you not shitting that the way you want to?
Shitting
Are you talking
shitting
about,
itself is fine.
Are you talking about like a technique?
Let's break this
No,
down.
it's more about like
This is like John Paul when he figured out how to dry rub himself.
it should be a peaceful experience, you know.
Yeah.
And it's just what? What?
Yeah,
I just
was
pictured
seeing
you
if you're gonna gloss over
squatting
that.
above the toilet in some kind of weird way that you learned about to make you feel better when you take a shit. I didn't know. You just want it to be quiet.
Squatty potty.
You missed an episode a couple episodes ago where we really broke down John Paul's new technique
His
that he found.
newfound-
It's like when you sit on your hand and then try to go at yourself a little bit, like it's
Okay.
like a different hand.
Right.
Yeah, for him this was like it was one of those things. It's right underneath his nose his whole life, and I don't know if
No,
you-
he just learned how to jerk off without lube. He just learned that was a thing and that he figured it out. Your mic's on, John Paul, if
but
you want to
like
respond.
the elation he
Where's your other
had,
hand?
the exuberation he had to tell us about it.
Oh, of course.
You know that.
for him.
Well, think about it.
know,
You open
it's
this
like
whole new world.
it's like for him. It's like
Disgusting.
just like planting a flag out west. You know, he's discovering new territory for himself. It's very important.
He's like the Donner Party. I agree. Yeah.
The Donner. Yeah.
Yeah.
I watched something recently.
Did you come in it?
Oh, it was the Ballad of Buster Scruggs.
Yeah.
On Netflix. It was really good.
I saw it.
It's well written, and but a lot of it was about them crossing, like Oregon Trail kind of stuff. Them actually
Well, the whole movie is about
navigating
the Old West.
The Old West, yeah.
Different angles about what's going on.
Really good.
How many oxen do they have? Was it Bob the Banker in there?
Mm-hmm. They had an Oregon Trail one. That one was really good.
Yeah. They had to ford the river and everything. It was
Yeah. That was fun.
Your oxen died, and everybody got cholera.
yeah.
I fucking dominated Oregon Trail.
They try and treat it like it's this like, like the westward expansion being this like, really important
Romantic.
They romanticize it, and it's like, man, that was
It's
the most brutal time.
Yeah, imagine just put yourself in that position. It's like, oh, we're walking the whole way, huh? Unless you're walking or sitting in the thingy for a little while, and
See,
then
I
you gotta
wonder-
get out and walk.
I wonder though, because they didn't have anything to they didn't have any kind of transportation that could get them anywhere. They didn't have, so
Well, they had
walking.
the wagons.
Walking seemed like walking was no, they didn't care to walk.
Oh yeah,
They walked
They
everywhere.
had they had
yeah. The
some
wagons.
stuff,
Yeah,
some
The wagons were
domesticated
mostly for
horses.
all their shit, though. You know, they had to bring all their muskets.
And then on top
What else
of
did they
it,
have?
the icing on the cake is when you're sleeping, Native Americans could just come up and round up
True.
and kill you.
It's true.
So yeah, and if not the weather, wherever you are.
At
Yeah.
that point too, at least according to the Buster Scruggs, at that point, the natives had acquired weapons from battles that they had
oh yeah,
had with the white men,
they figured
and
it out.
they had full the same arsenal that
We call it
did at
upcycling
that
on the
point.
Etsy game.
yeah.
hmm But
Man, that
Good
is
experience points.
do you
that's
do
good.
any kind of storytelling songs like Gordon Lightfoot like that? Like, do you I consider you kind of the Gordon Lightfoot of this area.
okay.
It's a compliment.
Yeah, no, I appreciate
if
that.
you could read my mind, girl.
What's a good story you could tell over music? I don't even know. Do you have any good stories?
Is storytelling tough? I think that's got to be tougher kind of constraint for lyrics in a song, right? Because, there's a part 1, part 2, part 3 to every story usually. Seems that way for a lot of popular music,
Yeah.
let's say. I don't know, but if it's hard to really kind of... I feel like lyrics are tough in that, again, being detailed with your lyrics, you have to kind of... You can't be so specific or else it's a little jarring.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah, for sure.
Well,
there's a
your newfound glory, in that point.
yeah, exactly. There's a clever way to say things that is soft and palatable, but it can still require some thinking. I mean, as far as storytelling goes, I tend to write from a first person perspective as the character. If I'll come up with a character in my mind, or based on something I've seen or just thought up, but I like to tell stories, from that character's perspective. I wrote Devil's Shoulders, a song on my last record, and I wrote that it's written from the devil, from the devil's perspective.
Were you on shrooms?
Commentary.
Getting in there?
No, there was other drugs involved, though, that were of the
PCP.
more uplifting
Mm-hmm.
kind, persuasion. So,
What's more uplifting than shrooms?
We have some in the fridge over there.
I'm like,
Do you want some?
anatomically, there's a few others. Spiritually, though, mushrooms are wonderful.
Do you follow
Were
that?
you eating dick?
Yeah.
Don't
What?
get it.
What? I don't. Yeah, I'm not following either.
Sexual
Things
drug.
that make your mind and your body like, pew,
Sounds like cocaine.
ding, ding, ding. But those days are over. Those days are over, man.
Oh, so that's your that's you finding that dark spot.
Yeah.
That's me being on a balcony at 7:30 a.m. watching the sun come up over St. Pete. I was up on
That's so
in
Florida.
a condo. It's
It's a Tuesday morning.
in a condo balcony. It's so
I imagine it like a rusty
it's so
motel.
God's waiting room.
Yeah, he lives a slightly different life than we do.
Oh, I did.
I'm
Starting to change.
Oh, yeah.
I did a bit.
It really is.
I did that when I was doing stand up full time. It was like, this is not good for me. I need some discipline. I need some routine. Or
Yeah.
I'll go off the deep end.
Are you taking the kid to school at all? Are you doing any of the dad stuff?
Not yet. I
Don't trust him.
I spend a lot of time with him and get him, buy him Lightning McQueen Hot Wheels and shit like that.
Oh, yeah. Buy his love. Good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like any
I discipline him.
dad-ish guy.
I give him a healthy dose of discipline and try and
Do you let him
Teach
pick
him how
out
to
the
be.
switch?
Try and teach him how to not be a
Yeah.
whiny little bitch, huh?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What do you do? How's your discipline technique?
Calm and stern and real, and just say, "Hey, man, you know it's cool to be nice."
Those are my feather boas.
Hey, bro. Listen, man.
That's my
that was
silly
not
closet of
cool.
clothes. Okay, you're not allowed in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are my tight pants.
You're not allowed to wear my bowling shoes. I wear those on Tuesdays. Go sit in the corner.
If you want a tip, it's
try
all
not
about
to-
attention.
I try not to raise my voice with him. You know,
Well, that's good.
it's not.
Those
That's
who
not good.
raise their voice lose the fight.
It's exactly right, man. And I've had to. Have been in my life pretty temperamental. So, I call it passionate, but that doesn't really fly with women or babies.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They just think you're a prick. So.
I yelled a lot Saturday night. I
Did you?
kind of lost my shit
Yeah.
in an argument and with people in my family, and then I got off the phone and felt embarrassed for myself almost. You know, like
Yeah.
how could I get this pissed about
Yeah.
something that
Mm-hmm.
literally we weren't going to solve anything.
I
on the
mean,
phone.
God, there's so much value in maintaining your composure. The second you lose your composure, the thing is, it's no longer about the point that's trying to be made. It's
Yeah,
automatically
you
about you
lose.
being a dick, and that's unfair, but it's understandable.
My big thing is, and I think the reason I do stand up, if we're really getting in that psyche, is because I don't think a lot of people. I was the youngest in my family. I think I was saying a lot of stuff and no one was paying attention. So like, I think there's that part of me that's like, hey, I got something to say.
You wanna be heard.
Shit, we're on a fucking podcast.
You wanna be heard,
that,
sure.
that
Yeah.
started with the hubris of like, I got enough to say
Yeah.
about business or dick jokes. You know, let's start this thing up. And I had a football one for like 6 years. So it's like, there's some need for that. And usually it comes from childhood, all this kind of shit.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that was one of those things where I was like, I'm saying funny shit over here. Nothing? Got nothing? You guys?
Your
You know,
family
I
was
think
like,
That's a big
They're
part
like,
of.
who are you? New phone, who dis?
That's a big part of like the appeal of being for me. I think just psychologically being an entertainer, performing, is that I can control. You know, in front of an audience, it's your world. You can control what it is that you want to convey and
Really?
how you want to do that. And I
You
think
feel
that's
that way?
I do, absolutely.
That you can guide them like you're the captain of a ship almost.
If you're good at your job, fuck yeah, of course.
well, you're used to hecklers.
No, I like chaos.
It's
around.
hard to like
I-
heckle.
I want a little bit more. I always approach stand up as like I'm at a barbecue and I got the loudest voice. Like it's not. It is like communal. There's breaking the fourth
Yeah.
wall. Like, but yeah,
But not all stand-ups are like you too.
No,
not
I know,
all,
I know.
everybody is licking their chops for somebody to holler at them.
No, and it's a bad habit too to let people do it.
Well,
Yeah.
a lot of
No, he
I think-
likes it,
Yeah,
too.
a lot of comics. I think they're waiting. They're chomping at the bit for somebody to say something stupid so they can pounce. And that's
Yeah,
Well, you
that's
can
it.
that's a
kinda-
technique.
You
It's
can walk
it's a
through the
technique.
crowd and be like, before you get on, you're like, oh man, I know this is gonna be bad. Like, if I do a black show or urban show, whatever you want to call it, but they call it urban show. It's black. Look, stand up is still segregated in a way. The audiences,
Yeah.
like black people show up. I want to be on the black shows, by the way. It's because it's harder for me because it's like, man, if you feel a feint of being nervous, fucking, you're done.
Oh, they
You're
will
done,
eat
man.
you up, man.
Yeah,
They will eat you
Sandman's
up.
coming out. Like
For
you're fucking done, bro. And like the other thing, always got paid. Every black show I did, stand up wise, always got paid.
I mean, you know, they've been
Black people show up.
systematically put in a position to have to hustle for a long time, so that mentality's strong there,
But man,
which I respect.
But
so.
the highest of high compliments, if I get like an older black dude, if I get an older black dude come up to me after a show and is like, dude, that's pretty fucking good. And I'm like,
It's a high compliment.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Yeah.
That's the top.
Yeah.
Not
Right?
a woman, not an old black woman.
Either one.
I feel like
And
that's
and
even better.
over 40, but you can't tell because they're timeless.
An old black transgender lesbian firefighter.
I've had all that, except I didn't know lesbian firefighter part, but I've had it.
Boom.
Yeah.
That's the pinnacle.
What do you, after a show, do you talk to anybody? That's the other thing. I'm going to just keep comparing music and stand-up.
Sure.
I don't like that we have to talk to everybody after the show. That's a thing. Like, you do the show. Like, there's something humbling about it, but, like, people want to give you a lot of notes. And it's like, okay, see ya, bye. Like, get out, please. move on.
Yeah.
But I don't know if you have to do that as much, or you do it, or you.
I
you
try
seem more
to, yeah.
introverted. Maybe.
Yeah, I try to. I mean, usually when I get off stage, I go to the green room and I decompress for about 10 minutes. Whoever's still around is still around. We can talk. I'm damn sure
That
not
means
taking
dry
notes.
rub,
I'm not
right?
taking notes from anybody.
But you got you don't have people coming up with their guitar being like, "Hey, I play music too. Check
exactly,
this out."
Exactly. I feel like
Where a stand-up does.
everybody
Is that a
thinks
baby, bro?
everyone thinks they're funny, you know.
Yeah.
So
I know.
everybody's got something
Tell
to say
me
about
about
your
it.
act.
Everybody's got a sense of humor, but everybody thinks they have a good taste in music too. That's
True,
I always compare
true.
that. Like everybody's taste in music is the best, right? Everybody's sense of humor is on point. And when people try to argue with you, and you're like, you've been doing it so long that you're like, no. Like, do you have people that are like, stuff on the radio is really good. I don't know why you don't like it. And you're like, look, musically, this shit is a formula that is made. The beats per minute are fucking science. Like, they know the behavior.
It's wild, man. If you go to Nashville, like
It's like fast food. They know exactly the scientific formula.
absolutely. I've been in situations where, like, I got hired once years ago to there was a
Fluffer?
female country artist coming through town,
Shania
and God, I wish
Twain,
she's
Dixie
the
Chicks.
best.
Did you come in it?
I
Alison
mean,
Krauss. I'll keep
Oh my
guessing.
God, Alison Krauss.
I
She's
love
my favorite.
her.
She's
the
the fucking best
Can
ever,
we play
man.
some Alison Krauss?
She is the best ever.
Oh, her.
I mean, her
voice is-
band, you know,
her voice is angelic.
it's incredible. Very
Amazing.
like technically perfect, like the placement. There's talk about subtlety like that. She's just got a natural gift. In her band, she's got some of the best players in the world in her band. They're
It's-
sick. It's a
Eric
great band.
loves her.
I don't really-
Allison
Krauss.
Krauss.
Alison Krauss.
With a
Yeah.
K.
What were we on? What
I'm
were we
not
talking
looking
about?
it up. I
You
don't.
were doing a fluffer job with a country star.
Yeah, and she came into rehearsal, and I had gone through these songs, and I had a list of 12 songs, and I promise you, I could not differentiate structurally, especially. I could not differentiate from one to the next. I could not tell the difference.
Of her songs?
Of her songs, because they were written for her, and they were, you know, you go to Nashville and there's about 10 or 15 formulas that they just plug in. You know, they treat artists like any cheap commodity, and they just plug them in.
Yeah, now they got like
accordingly, so-
rapping country
But I
artists.
couldn't do it. I couldn't do it.
Big and
I couldn't
rich.
do it.
You couldn't do
In the
what?
middle of the rehearsal, I'm like, this is I can't be involved in this. I'm sorry. And her mother, who
you
who's
feel like
clearly
a
been telling her.
Ponce?
First of all, she wasn't a very good singer. She's a terrible singer. In
I just
fact.
like to see you
Just-
go like, I can't do this.
It wa-
My artist integrity
It wa-
is at hand here. I just can't do it. And you walk,
Like,
storm,
how
out,
did you get in here?
That's
Who is that
kind
guy?
of how it was.
storm out with a sassy butt walk. Like,
yeah, I mean, it wasn't that dramatic, but it felt that way.
well, I mean, like, I feel like a lot of my musician friends are very sensitive to the art, and it's like, if you're into it, you're into it, and if you have jabronis coming in, it offends you, you know.
Yeah, it's offensive because you work your whole fucking life to refine a craft, and you have some 17-year-old girl whose grandmother had been telling her she could sing her whole life, you know, since she was 5 years old, come in
Dumping
and-
money into
and
lessons.
try and pass herself off as an artist. And I've had this argument with people lots of times, you know, the difference between, you know, what is art and what's not. And the idea that just because somebody created something doesn't make it art. To me, you know, art is predicated on the amount of time and the attention to detail you've put into your craft. And if you haven't, if you're riding the coattails of somebody else or somebody's doing the work for you, fuck out of my face.
I define most of
You
it
can see
like,
it.
can I do that? If you could sit me in a room for a couple of years, could I figure out how to do it? Music, I couldn't. I don't have that ear or ability or any of that. Like, a lot of painting, couldn't do a lot of that stuff. But like, there's some stuff where I'm like, yeah,
figure it
I
out.
got,
And it just
I
takes
got
time.
that.
It takes time. If you have a knack for something, it takes time to cultivate it. And
But I'm with you. Being
But-
creative, I look at it as the ability to create, and that to me is more about like that could be art or that can be solution based.
Absolutely,
I think
solution,
we're
yeah, for
creative
sure.
here. We're really good at being creative on business solution stuff here.
Yeah.
But that's not really super recognized because it's hard to gloat about.
I mean, it's making something from nothing. It's taking a block of clay and making something out of it. It's a full
God.
process, and I feel like that's, you know, it's certainly been diminished in a way, at least on a grand scale. There's so much good music out there that is sitting, it's sitting under that top layer, and it's just brilliant music.
Yeah,
Great
Right Said
songwriters.
Fred is awesome.
They're everywhere.
Yeah.
They're everywhere. The quality of music is so strong right
Well,
now. It's just not pushed to the top.
I want to hear about the creative process of doing an album. That's
Sure.
got to be mentally fucking rough. Like,
Oh my God. It's the most exhausting,
never-
manic.
it feels like it'll probably never be correct, almost. Like, and we kind of look at the creative process here. Like, for instance, I'll let you kind of think for a second about it. But it's like, we'll get a lot of people that are startups. We have a lot of immature businesses, as I call them.
Mhm.
Under 3 years, or startups, or
Mhm.
they don't have their shit together. So it's a lot of stuff like, let's get your brand identity together. That's a big creative project. But the way I found that I work the best in that area is, I'll get kind of an idea of what they need. I'll get the criteria, right? And then I'll think about it. We'll talk about it for a little bit. And then we go off and do other stuff, right? Go off and do other projects.
Mhm.
And in that meantime, those shower thoughts, that times I'm not thinking about it and it pops up like a pop-up ad almost in your brain.
Mhm.
That has been kind of at least my creative process for that. So like, then I'll go, oh shit, got it. And I did John Paul's logo, because it was like, got it. Came in my noggin after just like not thinking about it for 3 days or something like that. And I don't know if you have a process like that, or you just go out there and just war room it out.
It's a combination of both. I think there's a lot of well, first of all, when you go into making a record or anything creative, I think that you have to be willing to accept the fact that when it's done, there will be things that you wish you did differently.
Sure.
And you can't let that hinder you along the way, or the fear of that happening.
You'll never hit perfect.
Nope. And it's not about that. It's about, the way I look at my life and my career is that at the end, I want to know that I improved every time, that I got better. I got better at writing songs. I got better at playing my instrument and singing and making records. But as far as like getting in there and hashing it out, a lot of times, what I most often do is something will hit me like a lightning bolt. Words, music, and oftentimes it's overwhelming, and it will bring me to this insane place. It's like uncontrollable crying, where it's like your purpose is been completely put into focus, and it happens every now and then, and that's when I know something's good.
Capture it.
Yep,
Yeah.
and I'll immediately record it, so I have that original feel and that original headspace on record, and then over time I'll kind of work it out. So that way, by the time I get into the studio to make a record, I have it pretty well fleshed out. So I don't feel like this pressure or this weight to just create a full body of work for a record out of thin air. I try to take my time with it, but
Have you tried to figure out when those times hit you? Have you tried to quantify it and bring it back, force it in?
Yeah, like can you manifest it if you've worked on it, you think?
absolutely, well, yeah, for sure. Because if I hear it, all I have to do is hear it a few times, and play it a few times to really like know where that character lies, in my head. I can access it. I mean, I've done this for a while, so I've gotten to
give
the
an
point.
example of like something from your last album, maybe.
Sure.
And it's on
Sure. I mean,
jtbrownandco.com.
Yeah.
Not secure though.
And iTunes.
I saw.
You'll get a virus if you go to that
You're on
website. but-
Spotify, right, as well?
Yeah, I'm on Spotify.
But that doesn't hook you up. Buy directly from the site. That's better.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
True. God, Spotify. The
You know,
artist payouts are a fucking joke.
but it gets you out
everybody
there.
knows that. It's just
You make money on touring, right? That's kind of the deal now.
yeah. Exposure doesn't. It doesn't make. Doesn't pay my rent.
How many gigs did you do where people
It can,
threw that
but-
out there? I get that still.
Oh, God.
It's like, hey, we're going to get you a lot of exposure to Jackie Mason's crowd. I'm like, Jackie Mason's crowd is 90 years old.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck about them. They hate me too. So
Yeah.
I don't think I'm going to go anywhere with the guy from fucking, what was the guy?
Caddyshack 2,
Yeah. Yeah.
his biggest
Nice. That's what I was looking for.
role. I know that's what you were
That's
thinking
why
of.
we're there, man. That's where, woo!
I
I
never
did
even
it.
saw Caddy yet. I never saw the second one.
I bombed harder than I've ever bombed doing opening for him. Anyway.
Really?
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, it's
it's not,
Jewish
your,
enough.
not your demographic, I don't think.
You were
yeah,
telling
you
us you were
think?
trying to think of inspiration
I
from your
talked
last
about Twitter.
album.
Yeah,
And
so-
they're like, huh?
Um,
Or did you just
I've
kind of
had
wing it?
no, I mean I've had experiences like say a song like Slow Hand Killer, it's about a friend whose lover was very put together on the outside, but was slowly developing a heroin problem, and it's like,
OJ?
and I watch.
Well,
Oh, man.
I mean, the glove.
Which one
Slow
of our
hand.
friends was
I'll
it?
never forget that. I know exactly where I was in that verdict. I mean, I guess we all do. I think we were in 4th grade, weren't we?
We were in 4th grade, yeah.
Yep, I was out in Crystal
That was
River.
fucking wild, man.
They brought us in. Like,
But
watch
yeah,
this shit.
Just things like that
Really?
when you see something.
This is in June. I
Turn the
thought.
TV on.
Oh, you mean the verdict? The verdict.
Oh, shit.
I'm talking about the
Oh,
Bronco chase.
yeah, the car
Oh
chase.
god, that was
Yeah.
incredible.
Yeah.
But
At least,
yeah,
at least
songs
they
like
haven't
that.
had any
You were
movies
inspired by
about it.
OJ.
Yeah,
something?
songs. Yeah, just must have quit. I, if
Sponsored by Hammer. Too legit to quit.
if
Sorry, we keep
if I have
interrupting.
no, it's okay. If I have an experience like that with somebody, then it's easy to draw from. And I witnessed it. I was watching it happen.
Do you?
So.
What's the daily?
Yeah, it's gross.
Do you do anything
And unfortunate.
daily? So, this show, I really like to get to the minutia of like what's good advice for anybody that's younger that wants to be a musician, because the landscape changes so quick. It's exponentially changing, right? It's
Yeah.
like Moore's law.
Mm-hmm.
Technology is exceeding what we can handle, basically. Eventually, it's going to go past us with AI and all that stuff,
Mhm.
synthetic intelligence. But let's reel it back.
Synthetic intelligence. I haven't heard
Yeah,
that.
they don't want to call it artificial intelligence because that's a bad name for it. Because it's kind of misleading in a bit of a way. But what do you think if you got someone in college right now, or just out of high school? What would you tell them about? I mean, I'm gonna guess telling them to get as many reps as possible on stage is probably number one. But what would you tell someone younger that similar kind of musician to you?
Yeah.
Or what would you tell yourself at 19?
Good question. I guess
Lay off the last real Coke.
the ideal.
sometimes.
Yeah. Well,
I don't know.
Maybe you got there.
You
though.
should probably do some coke.
certain. I would say try and stay away from hard drugs, but psychedelics.
but try
I don't
'em.
know. That might help.
Yeah, definitely do psychedelics.
Yeah.
Honestly, it sounds. When people say this, what I'm about to say, I'm like, oh, but it's true. Authenticity.
Oh, no.
Spend more time. Yeah, no,
Okay,
it's
I was
how I
kidding.
feel. I mean, it's kind of a
Whatever you were gonna say, I was gonna do that.
it's kind of a bland, like, Tony Robbins thing to say, but it's true because I'm a firm believer in like developing your craft from the inside out and not allowing. But I don't know. Maybe
What does
that's
that
something
mean?
that's
What-
innate.
No,
That's something
it's
that's innate.
it's an
so-
influence thing, because if you're not being authentic, then you're worrying about other people's opinions, and then that's influencing what you really should be putting out.
I think it's a-
This
think
is
it's
a
important.
19-year-old you, though. I mean, authentic. You think you're authentic a lot of the time, and you don't even know how naive you are to a lot of influence
That's
on
true.
you.
yeah,
That's
you're
true.
maybe authentically a little dick.
Right. Yeah.
I mean,
You're
at
getting
19 years
catfished by
old.
yourself. Yeah.
At 19 years old, I very, very clearly remember being headstrong and saying, "I'm going to do this my way."
I'll be the next Scott Stapp.
I'll be sure. Like, Jacksonville's finest.
Watch out, Meatloaf. Here I come.
I think it's important as a young person like that. I think it's important to spend a lot of time discovering yourself and don't go to college when you get out of high school. Take a couple
I
years
agree.
off.
I agree.
Figure your shit out. Figure
Get
out
in the
who
Israeli
you are.
Army for a year.
Yeah, I
Get
mean,
that discipline. I think.
I'll be cashing out that Florida prepaid college plan coming back.
Oh man, true. Forgot about that.
But
I need to hit up.
learn a
grandma.
trade. Is it valuable to say to? I tell comedians this: learn something that you can do drunk almost as a day job, like wait tables during the day, or have a trade that you don't have to think about, so you can have your mind kind of out there to think about jokes or think about music. Is that something? I don't know how musicians roll in the beginning.
I didn't take that path. I chose to sacrifice any sort of stability and security. I was in a rough spot for a few years, and I've had rough patches. I mean, it's not an easy thing to do to be completely self-reliant
Takes
with
balls.
an art form.
Yeah,
But it takes
Fuck yeah,
it
yeah.
really. It just takes. You have to love. I love nothing in my life. Nothing in my life fills me up the way it does that moment I talked about earlier, when something hits me and it just destroys me because it's like
It's not
it
you.
brings all the questions, all the really big, ridiculous, unanswerable existential questions, and it wipes them aside because it's like it's a clear thing that this is it's a purpose.
I like that.
Maybe
It's a purpose. It's a fucking reason for
Love
being here
it.
and not just floating around on the rock aimlessly, which is a nice feeling.
Maybe
it
the
keeps you
lesson
going.
we try to do
great.
one at least like pragmatic tip. Maybe the lesson is catch lightning in a bottle when you have it. Kind of
Absolutely. Don't
double
when you,
back,
when
write
you
it
feel
down,
that,
or whatever.
Yeah.
When you feel that, be responsible enough as an artist, because I think we have an obligation. If you have that sort of, if you're open, if you're a portal in that way, I think you have some obligation to yourself and humanity to capture that thing and express it. Because it's I think at the end of the day, we want to leave a legacy of giving, and there's a lot of ways to give, and I think being responsible as an artist, getting your work done and doing the thing that makes you feel good, and being an example of how to live in that way, that's a responsibility that I take seriously, and I think it's a form of giving in itself. So I don't
That's
necessarily
why I
think it's
love
mine.
you, buddy. That's
Aw.
great.
Love you too. man.
Next time you come back, you gotta play a little bit. And I think we're just getting revved up. We're gonna try to make these interviews longer in the future. So
Cool.
Yeah. Hopefully we were recording.
yeah.
Well, it's great to be here.
It's our
Thanks,
first
guys.
setup.
for having me.
SweatEquityPod.com. We're on iTunes, Spotify, your mom's Walkman, Vimeo. We on that
YouTube.
LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook,
Instagram.
Twitter. What else we on? Spotify, Google Play, laughable app. Where
Did you
can
say
tag
your mom's iPod?
I said Walkman, but your
Or
mom's
iPod too.
iPod 1. Her Zune. Your mom's Zune.
Oh my.
Yeah, that was a deep pull, guys.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening, watching. Send us any questions, holler at us, and get this album.
I got a new one coming out soon, next year.
Okay,
Or
look for
summer.
that next year.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
throw that in there.
Quick plug.
We'll
Thanks.
put your links in the description.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Probably not.
Thanks, JP.